Welcome to the Balance of Cinema podcast, a show dedicated to discussing movies from the cinematic failures to lesser-known classics hiding on Tubi to the movies starring Doctor Who actors. I am your host, Steven, and here is my co-host, Todd. Hello, Todd.
Hello, Steven.
Are you excited to talk about this very goofy comedy that does not have a sad ending at all?
It's a cult classic. It has very diehard fans that pushed me for years to see this. Well, you haven't seen this? Yeah, this is great. You got to see this. And they pushed, and I finally watched it.
The movie is Withnail and I, directed by Bruce Robinson. I had never heard about this until you told me about it.
Yeah. Richard E. Grant's first movie, and just a cult
Paul
classic.
McGann's first movie too.
Yeah.
My relationship with Richard E. Grant is very funny because I saw him once in Hudson Hawk, and I feel like I've never saw him in another movie again until the last 5 years, where he's been in 30 movies.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he pops up quite a bit.
Yeah. Big fan of Hudson Hawk. That's definitely going to be on the podcast one of these days. But yeah, after a while, I was just he's in Logan, he's in Star Wars, he's in The Hitman's Bodyguard. It's just holy shit, man, this guy's in a lot. Looking at his filmography too, I guess I must have watched him in Little Vampires. But yeah, quite the legendary career. He's also in movies like Argylle.
And I have his action figure as classic Loki from the Disney Plus Loki series.
I actually really liked him in that show.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's kind of funny that it was funny to finally see the actual Loki costume, and then it's just this very legendary British actor dressed as. It's kind of funny for all the things he's in, and then it's Hudson Hawk that he hates. But that was probably just because I imagine from everything I've heard from Hudson Hawk, that was just a very frustrating film to make.
Well, I recently saw a little interview with him from, I don't know how many years ago, where he basically said that Bruce Willis had asked him while they were making that, how can you British guys always like playing the bad guys? It's I can't imagine playing anybody but the hero, says Bruce Willis. And Richard E. Grant says, well, that's boring.
And that's why Bruce Willis was in The Jackal.
Yeah, that's true.
To be fair, he does seem like he's having fun in The Jackal. So I don't know, maybe he was filming The Jackal and he's like, holy shit, Richard was right. Also starring in this, I don't know why my voice went so high. Also starring in this movie is Paul McGann, who's probably most famous for being one of the bald guys in Alien 3.
Unless you're a Doctor Who fan. Yes.
Which, yeah, he was the 8th Doctor, which that's a really funny story. And it's pretty cool that apparently they found the original negatives to that pretty recently. So they're going to have a new 4K restoration of Doctor Who the movie in March.
Sweet.
But a little bit of behind the scenes on that. Doctor Who basically was canceled at the end of the 80s. So yeah, BBC for years wanted to do another Doctor Who thing, because even while it was canceled, it's Doctor Who's a huge part of their pop culture. And so they tried to do the thing where it's okay, well, let's get it big in America, so that way we'll get more money to do Doctor Who stuff. And the only person that wanted anything to do with it was Fox. So Fox was you can do a television movie. And they're okay, we'll do that. So they got Paul McGann to play the Doctor to replace Sylvester McCoy. And they got Eric Roberts to be the main villain. I always heard the movie did pretty well, but I guess not enough for, it's Fox. So Fox was probably what? This wasn't bigger than Friends? Okay, we're not greenlighting the show. But Paul McGann has had a pretty big career, maybe not a huge career, but Paul McGann's been a lot of stuff. He's an Emperor of the Sun, Three Musketeers, Queen of the Damned. lesbian vampire killers, and then countless TV shows. So it was cool seeing him in this too, because just like Richard E. Grant, this is his first movie. And then we have what is probably... I was honestly surprised that he was in this movie as much as he was. I assumed he was like a one and none, but no, he's in like a good part of this movie. But we have the late Richard Griffiths as Monty. What do you know him more for Naked Gun 2 or Harry Potter?
Well, I haven't watched a lot of Harry Potter, actually. I knew he was in it. So I would have to say Naked Gun 2.5 is probably where I recognize him most. Although I do see he was in Superman 2. He was in Hitchhikers. He was as a voice.
Yeah, he's one of the I forget what they're called, but
Vogons.
Yeah.
He's like the Vogon captain who destroys Earth. Spoiler. Let's see. He's in Gandhi. He's in Chariots of Fire, which was a big one.
King Ralph.
Yeah. Oh, he's in Britannia Hospital, which is something you dare your friend to watch. Yeah.
That's about the extent of the actors that I'm familiar with in this movie, because I'm not British, so I don't know. I do know that one of the guys, Ralph Brown, who plays the hippie drug dealer Denny, he was also in Alien 3.
Yeah.
Playing one of the bald guys.
Yep. And a pilot from The Phantom Menace, Star Wars Episode 1. But yeah, it's funny that the two of them turned up in Alien 3.
I just assume that David Fincher is a fan of this movie.
Yeah, that wouldn't be surprising.
When did you first... Because I know you said your friends were like basically like spending like a lot of time convincing you, but when did you watch this for the first time?
Just like last year, I finally got around to watching it about a year ago, and yeah, so I've finally, I don't know what had pushed me to eventually dive in, but I watched it about a year ago for the first time, and it was pleasant enough, but I could see why there were big fans of it, but I felt like it was I was slightly out of the culture. I'm not big into drugs and hardcore alcohol, and I was never really a serious wannabe actor. And I was more of a writer, and I think we're slightly different from actors. But this was definitely like actors in 1969 England who weren't gay, and they felt like they were counterculture, and so there's a lot of kind of self-loathing and lashing out, and a lot of things they touch on. So, and a lot of stuff that doesn't age well, a lot of things that you know people aren't going to like the movie for.
Yeah,
but
there's something that Paul McGann's character says at the end that really took me by surprise. There's a certain term that he uses that is like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah. I think when I watched it again the other night, I did the same thing. Like, oh, ow, don't, yikes, and but yeah, and yet when I watched it again the other night, it was far more moving. I might be becoming a fan of it, like my friends, because on second pass, I just was so into watching this toxic relationship that ended up making them a bit like an old married couple. Mm-hmm. And you see like one of them's falling apart, and the other one always kind of steps up and either helps or chastises them and takes charge. And then sometimes within the same scene, they'll switch and the other one will fall apart. And so the other guy will have to take up. And that's how any kind of relationship people stick together, is that they help each other.
Yeah.
And so that was just very, very apparent. But yeah, I found it much more touching, I guess. But I understand that it's certainly not for everybody. But if you're
kind of a hard movie to recommend to people.
Yeah, it's not for everybody, but a certain group of people can kind of seal some to identify with, and especially when there's a lot of doubt and self-loathing and like, well, you don't know what to do, and I love that one of my friends reviewed this movie on Letterboxd simply by saying one of the great feel-bad films of all time. And then another friend reviewed it. I love how they make the absolute worst of every single situation they find themselves in. And that really is the comedy of it all, is that they get in a bad situation and make it worse repeatedly. And I haven't, I can't remember if I've seen I did watch a trailer of it a long time ago, but they have to have the line in there that Richard E. Grant says where we're on holiday by mistake.
That was one of my favorite lines of the movie.
It is. Yeah, we're on holiday by mistake. It's really quotable, and I love how they start so many any conversation they're having with a stranger out in the country. They always start it with, "We're not from London," even though they obviously from London, and but they know they just figure everyone hates London, so we're not from London. They have to start every time, and then once. And then when they're in that talking with the pleading with the guy, the farmer driving the tractor, and one of them says, "Shut up," and takes over the conversation and then starts to fall apart. Then the other guy goes, "Shut up," and takes over the conversation. And that again is that seesaw action of like which one of them is currently in charge. And it was so funny. Shut up! He's obviously he's obviously a farmer. He's driving a tractor.
Since this is the first time I'm seeing the movie, I'll save my thoughts on it till the very end because I have no other previous experience with this movie.
Yes. Oh, it was good watching it again. Because, the first time you're just so weirded out. There's so much gross stuff. I mean, I had to give it to him for making a scene where two men living together in an apartment and the sink is so gross you're afraid of it. Yeah. That's great. It reminded me a lot of Douglas Adams' Dirk Gently, who was afraid to open his refrigerator because he knew it was so gross. And I had a nightmare once that I was cleaning a dirty sink in the kitchen, and there was something alive under all the dirty dishes, and that was my nightmare. And so this movie realizes that. It's kind of hilarious. Oh, another great review. Because I started following more and more friends, more and more people on Letterboxd, and so when I tune into a movie, and I can read through all these really witty people and what they've said. One of the reviews is, "I saw the best minds of my generation driven to drinking lighter fluid because they refuse to understudy Constantine and the Seagull." That's great. That's fantastic. It's like, no, don't drink the lighter fluid. Don't drink the lighter fluid. Do we have more?
I am going to do the rare thing. I am going to read the plot synopsis this time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here we go. One of my favorite things about the letterbox summaries is to find out if they're accurate or not, because sometimes it can be like, that's barely the movie. Withnail and I. Two out-of-work actors, the anxious, luckless Morwood, and his, of course I can't pronounce that word. Acerbic. And his acerbic alcoholic friend Withnail spend their days drifting between their squalid. I'm not reading this ever. I'm not doing the synopsis ever again. Between their squalid flats, the unemployment office, and the pub, when they take a holiday by mistake at the country house of Withnail's flamboyant gay uncle Monty, they encounter the unpleasant side of the English countryside. Tedium, terrifying locals, and tutorial rain.
Torrential.
Kind of hot.
Torrential rain, yes. Yes,
Torrential.
yeah, I love how much it rains in this movie. That anytime they plan to do anything, it's a downpour. That sounds like that must be what English life is like.
Yeah, it like everywhere they go, it's cold and foggy and like just wet, and it's like England sounds horrible.
I know. Yeah, so one of my last family vacations, which was a while ago, we went to the Big Island of Hawaii, which I highly recommend. It was awesome. It's Hawaii. It's awesome. The temperature's great. It's so beautiful and everything, but the Big Island is mostly like volcanic rubble. It's a big volcano, and a lot of it is just it's not inhabitable yet. And so most of the people living on Hawaii is on the far the western side. But if you go to the East Coast, apparently it's one of the wettest places on Earth. It's just always raining. And it's kind of spectacular though, because it's nice and warm. The rain is just really kind of cooling. It's a torrential downpour constantly, but it's okay. So there's some really great restaurants there, and so it's worth just like waiting to the through the rain to get to these great restaurants. Yeah. It's kind of fantastic. Of course, the British Isles sound like you get the rain, but not the nice temperature, not the tropical surrounding. It's cold. It's bleak.
And then apparently when it's summer, it's like really hot, and they don't have air conditioning because it's only hot for like 2 months. So it's like, why would they have it? Because like we're both from Southern California. We have the air conditioning on almost every other day because who knows when that's going to be like 80 degrees out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So I really love the intro. I should have wrote the name of the song down. I don't have that, but just like this like nice music, this nice like song playing while like Morwood, which he's never called Morwood throughout the movie. In fact, he's credited as and I because he's the and I part of the duo, but apparently just you can find like his little like check at the end of the movie has Morwood on there, and that's what he was in the script. So canonically, his name is Morwood, in case anyone's curious. I
swore that at one point I swore Richard E. Grant referred to him as Peter, but I may have misheard. The next time I watch the movie, I'll have to check, but. I swore he referred to him as Peter at one point, but then again, we quickly learned that Withnail lies constantly, so we really can't trust whatever he says.
So I actually have a fun fact for that. That is a very common thing that people think that his name is Peter. So the line is, he's just had an audition for rep, but people think that Withnail says Peter's had an audition for rep.
Yes, that's what I thought I heard. Yeah.
And apparently, because Withnail is based on Bruce Robinson's, I believe it's Bruce Robinson's friend, Vivian McClarrell. It's kind of accepted that Withnail's name is also Vivian.
Right.
But we're just going to call him Withnail and Morwood.
Right. And apparently he got the name Withnail from a childhood acquaintance that he thought was a really cool kid named Withnail.
And then he gave it to this character.
Yeah. Very nice.
The apartment is just disgusting. There's like not a clean spot. There's like stuff like everywhere. There's just bottles strung about like the whole place. And then like their kitchen, where it's just full of dirty dishes, and there may be something growing in there. I like the part where Marwood is just like, yeah, I left a tea bag in there, and then it's just he's like afraid of like the tea bag because who knows what it's turned into.
Yeah, and that like at the very beginning, he washes out the kettle. He has to like fight his way into the sink to fill the kettle, and then he puts the kettle on. and he starts heating it. He goes and knocks on his roommate's door and says, "I'm making some tea. Do you want some?" No. And then we cut, and Morwood has gone to a restaurant, a diner, and he's reading the paper, and he's starting to have like this paranoid attack, like where he's suddenly upset about everything.
Yeah.
And then he makes his way back to his apartment, and the kettle's like practically on fire. He's just left it on so long and left. It's like blackened.
Which, of course, Withnail then grabs it at some point and burns his hand.
Right, and burns his hand. Like, well, yeah, it's he's left it on too long. But it's right off the bat there. You see that Morwood is kind of having this crisis momentarily, and Withnail just tells him to shut up and pull yourself together. And well, what do we need to do? Well, we just need a diversion, to drink and do other things. And then slowly or quickly, Withnail starts falling apart and starts feeling ill. And then Morwood has to step up and say, "Hey, we could talk to that uncle of yours. He has a house in the country. Maybe we could do that." So their holiday by mistake is really just them trying to pass the time.
Just kind of like get a change of scenery away from the city. Because around this same point too, Morwood just tries to go to the bathroom and he's harassed by a guy calling him a ponce, and then almost leads to a fight between the two between the three before they just run away from him.
Yes, which is for my second Letterboxd review, I had to write down Withnail's tactic of de-escalation. So here is Withnail's de-escalation technique. First, you start charming, and then you move to a non-threat, but basically trying to get the guy to back off. Then you plead for mercy. Then you throw your friend under the bus, and then you run away screaming. So it goes like this. "Would you like a drink?" "Oh, I have a heart condition. I have a heart condition. If you hit me, it's murder." "Oh, my wife is having a baby." "Listen, I don't know what my acquaintance did to upset you, but it's nothing to do with me. I suggest that you both go outside and discuss it sensibly in the street." Ah, why?
It's a really good introduction to like these two characters. Morwood is this very neurotic person he's not having a good time, he just kind of spirals into like paranoia, and then Withnail, it's more just him just being really sad unless he's high on drugs, which he is for most of the movie.
Yeah, apparently, so Bruce Robinson had written like an unpublished book about his life as an actor in the late 60s. And he'd had Franco Zeffirelli, when he got his job playing Benvolio on Franco Zeffirelli's Romeo and Juliet film, that the director came on to him a lot. And he was like bothered by that, of course. And so he was writing about his experiences. So then in the 80s, he was like, "Oh, that might be a fun thing to turn into a script," but he paid somebody else to take a crack at it. And it seemed too weird. It was like people wouldn't get it. It was just kind of like this kind of strange, dismal situation. But they found backers to back it. And did you see that like George Harrison provided half the funding for the movie?
No, I didn't see that. That doesn't surprise me though. I've heard about that, where he's just kind of like, George Harrison's like, "I want this movie made, so here you go."
Yeah. And it's funny because there's all of those there's a lot of great 60s music, but there's only one Beatles song in there. But of course, it's George Harrison, "While My Guitar Gently Weeps," which is great. But they could have had more, you would think, with George Harrison funding the movie. But Jimi Hendrix music is throughout.
Oh yeah, that was surprising to see because it's just Jimi Hendrix is just so like American to me. Just hearing him in like a British movie, like kind of like took me off guard. But this is like a couple. This came out like well, the movie takes place like a year before he dies, right? Jimi Hendrix has died in 1970, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1970. So this is like the height of his career. So it makes sense that these two young British men would be listening to Jimi Hendrix. This is a funny aside, but I was kind of scrolling through information about this movie, and it says Peter Frampton worked as makeup artist, and it's like, that's odd. Why would Peter Frampton be a makeup artist? And then this is how I found out that there's Peter Frampton rock star and there's Peter Frampton makeup artist.
Yeah.
Both
of them come alive.
Yeah, because like Peter Frampton is well into like a music career at this point, so it would have been weird if he was also a makeup artist on the side.
Yeah. Well, my favorite cameo is Eddie Tago, who pops up near the end, and he's the guy that that is in both Raiders of the Lost Ark and my favorite Top Secret as Chocolate Mousse.
Oh my God, that was him?
That's him. That's him. And when he pops up, I was losing my shit. Just like, oh my God.
Clear, but like,
that's
I wouldn't.
Chocolate Mousse. And he's in Raiders of the Lost Ark. He's on the freighter that they're trying to escape in when the Nazis pick them up, with the submarine. And the captain says, "Find Dr. Jones." And this guy Eddie Tago points over as I see him. He's there. And so yeah, all the same guy.
It's funny. We have in this one movie we have a character who drinks lighter fluid, and then in Top Secret we have a character for this actor from this movie drinking gasoline.
Yes. Gasoline.
Yeah, we'll get more to them at the end because he appears like right at the end. Right. He's before they go meet their Uncle Monty. We are introduced to I thought it was Denny, but apparently it's Danny. But they're drug dealer Danny, who is classic hippie. Whatever you think of like as like a whatever you think of like a hippie from around this time, that's who Danny is, except he has a British accent and he sells them a bunch of drugs. Withnail actually challenges him and says, "I could take anything. Whatever you give me, I'll be running." And so we'll come back to the drugs. It leads to a scene that I thought was pretty funny. But yeah, they go to meet their cousin Monty because he has this cottage out in the English countryside. And Monty is played by Richard Griffiths. Yeah, I really love Richard Griffiths in this movie. I thought Monty was a funny character, even though after a certain point, Monty kind of stops being funny.
Right. Yeah. I think one of the things that I think is just really a great detail and truism is at some point our protagonist Marwood tells Withnail, "I can't stop smiling. It's hurting my face." And he's smiling because he's uncomfortable, which is, of course, leading on this gay man to think, oh, he's smiling at everything I tell him. And Marwood can't stop smiling, even though he does not want to lead on gay Uncle Monty, and but he can't stop. And I think that's very true to that kind of situation where you're like mortified, but you can't do anything but smile and nod.
He also really hates his cat.
Yeah. Oh God, yes. How upset he gets it anytime the cat looks at him, and the cat just immediately like hisses at him. That's it. I've had it. You're ruining my life.
But this scene further establishes a very common thing with Withnail's character, where he, of course, he's going to lie to his uncle and he's going to lie to his uncle about his career and make him seem like he's a bigger deal. But like, it's just this common thing of Withnail thinking he's a much more better and worthy actor than where he is in his life. Even though he's like losing commercials.
Yeah.
Because no one wants to work with him.
Mm.
He even takes the idea of the fact that he's not getting jobs as maybe that means his agent's dead.
Yeah. And then, of course, they're trying to manipulate Monty so that they can use his house in the country. And so Withnail's immediately like, oh, well, you know, my friend's gay and he's really attracted to you. So he's basically throwing his friend at his uncle so that he can get what he wants.
Yeah.
And his friend is like mortified. Like, oh, what are you doing? He's not going to give us the cottage if we don't. Come on, take one for the team. And so they get to talking about acting, and they say that Monty in his youth, you know, he was a bit of an actor. And so they get Monty talking about himself because they know that's how you manipulate somebody. And I wrote down the speech he gave because I love it. He says, "It's true, I cracked the boards in my youth, but I never really had it in my blood. And that's what's so central, isn't it? Theatrical zeal in the veins. Alas, I have little more than vintage wine and memories. It is the most shattering experience of a young man's life when one morning he awakes and quite reasonably says to himself, 'I will never play the Dane.' When that moment comes, one's ambition ceases. Don't you agree?" Now, I probably, since I wrote that down and was really kind of contemplating it, if you're a young actor and a young male actor and you're thinking, oh, to aspire to play Hamlet, that's the way to go. Mm-hmm. As soon as you realize you've aged past that, you're just never going to get the chance to play Hamlet, like, does that mean your acting career is over? It's like it's useless now. And I could totally see how a lot of guys would think that, would have that kind of, I've got to play Hamlet. If I don't play Hamlet by a certain point, it's over. And I love that. And so Withnail, his response is like, oh, I'm going to play him. I'm going to play him someday. And so you see that that's where he is. His drive isn't done. He's still got his hand in the game. He could still play Hamlet. Yes, his chips are down right now. Nothing's going well for him. But he could still play Hamlet one day, damn it. And his friend, Marwood, is being invited up to rep. He has an audition. So his career could be taking off. And that's, he's happy for his friend, but he's jealous. And that's really kind of an interest. What really makes, I think, the movie interesting is what's going on in this relationship.
And then there's also several times when Withnail like brags about his acting career. You can just see Marwood just like making faces in the background, being like, "Oh God, this again." You can tell they're both in a strange spot in their acting careers. Where Withnail, he's not ready to give up, but he might not have any opportunities left, and now Marwood has this chance.
Yes. And currently, the latest Disney Plus show for Marvel Cinematic Universe, have you been watching, or have you seen Wonder Man?
I saw the first episode, and then I actually was surprised that I really liked it.
Yeah, it's really good. And it kind of has the same kind of setup, only it's shot out here. At one point when he's going to visit, he's an out-of-work actor, he's struggling, and he's got a lot of hang-ups, and he's going to go visit his mom in Pacoima, and he's on Stag Avenue. And I'm like, oh my God, that's my street. He's near my house, which is not Pacoima. But yeah, I'm constantly distracted because whenever he's driving, whenever Simon Williams is driving around LA, I'm like, oh, he's on Wilshire.
Be funny. It's just like he drives past the Tropicana, and then it's just like, yeah, I'm on Hollywood Boulevard. It's like, no, you're not. Sunset. Tropidero, not Tropicana. Tropidero is what I meant. I don't know how to read. I'm sorry. Yeah, they're able to get the key to the cottage, and they just immediately decide to go to the countryside. Did any days pass, or did they just immediately go?
Yeah, it felt that
so
way.
Dark when they're driving, it looks like.
It's like, we have to go now. That's kind of their decision on everything. It's like, we have to go now. It's like, not now. I need a half hour to know we're going now. And then it's cut to torrential downpour of rain. That whenever they do get moving, it rains.
Yeah. And then this is probably just how cars were back then, but he only has one windshield wiper.
Yeah. And it's not on the driver's side. It's on the passenger's side.
This is also when Withnail takes some of the drugs that they got from Danny, and the drugs that he said he could take, and then he's almost the next scene, he's just out.
Yes.
Presumably for hours.
So my son pointed out something about the Jaguar that they drive, the shitty Jaguar with one windshield wiper and one working headlight, and no hubcaps. That just looks really battered and old. He pointed out that that there was an episode of Top Gear where they were picking like cars that they thought were going to be classics. And one of the guys, I don't know if you've ever watched the show, but one of the guys, James May, James May had picked one car, and he was being made fun of. Like, how could you think that's going to be a classic? And he said, well, when I was young, one of my teachers drove this same Jaguar that Withnail and Marwood are driving. So and we all made fun of our teacher for that car because it was new, so it wasn't a classic yet. And they're like, "Oh my God, this stupid car!" But it definitely doesn't look like classic material here. It looks just like trash.
Yeah. Funny too, because like Jaguars are just like, you think of like luxury car, so it's funny just looking at like this like run down looking Jaguar. If we have any British audience members listening to this, I hope they're annoyed by how we're saying Jaguar.
Yes.
However they say it. They also set up a good bit here that I was like, oh my God, I hope this comes back. Where if he ever gets pulled over for drinking and driving, he has like this like little jug with like a tube connected to it, and then the jug is full of child's piss that he's going to use to circumvent like a drinking and driving thing. And it's like, oh my God, is this going to come back?
Yeah. But he'll always have it in his trench coat in case he has to take a urine sample. I believe he bought it, and so who knows what it actually is.
Yeah. But yeah, they finally arrived at the cabin. The cabin doesn't look that great, and it's raining, and they're just as miserable as they were at their own house. And also because they were dumb and they didn't get any supplies, they have no food or anything. And to be fair, even if they had money to go get food, they probably would have just spent it on booze first.
Right.
Because that's like, anytime they get money in this movie, their first idea is let's go get a drink and get really drunk.
Yep.
It just shows you like how like irresponsible they are. Like even if like they get ahead just a little bit, they have to like self-destruct essentially. Even Morwood, who seems like he has like a little bit of sense, he's usually just like, yeah, let's get a drink. That sounds good. But in their attempts to get supplies for their holiday, they ask around the town for fuel and wood for the fire and food, and the townsfolk just immediately hate them. He goes to this old lady's house and she tells him to just go. She tells him to go away. Thankfully, they meet a very nice farmer who has one leg.
You can't miss him. It's bright yellow.
I don't know if this is a common thing in the side, but everyone's just using shopping bags.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently Bruce Robinson said that that's what they did. When they couldn't afford Wellington boots, they just put plastic shopping bags over their shoes.
But yeah, they're able to get some fuel and fire, and then he's going to give them a chicken later. It's a pretty obvious setup because, of course, it's like, oh, the farmer's going to give them a chicken, and it gives them a chicken that's still alive. Which I find it very impressive that they're able to actually kill it.
I love that it's a two-man job. Anyone who grew up on a farm, of course, they know how to kill a chicken, just one person. It's like, now you hold it, I'll kill it. And then they pull most of the feathers off. Not all of them, just most of them. They don't appear to wash it, that we can tell. And then they basically make a little throne for it in the oven and just sit it there.
Morwood's first idea was to just put it in a kettle and cook it that way.
Right. Just boil it. Yeah. Just cram it into the kettle. Instead, they make a little throne for it in the oven and sit it there with its feet. And its wings still has feathers. Oh.
Yeah, they're it's funny because you would think normally movies like this, you have the irresponsible guy from the city. He comes to the countryside and he learns to be a better person and more responsible. And this one, they're too stupid to learn any lessons.
Right.
And just piss off everyone they meet. They go to a pub that's in the village the next day, and then they piss off this Irish poacher. They didn't even really do anything. They were just asking him if they could have some of his eels.
Yeah, and he had handed some pullets over, and they're like, oh, they're trying to buy the game that this guy, because you're the poacher, right? Trying to buy his stuff. And this is after they've lied to pass themselves off as war veterans because they lie constantly. And they're like, look, it got us a free drink, didn't it? Just so they're just ultimately reprehensible constantly. So it's kind of like, what it reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of Donald Duck. Because when Donald Duck has bad things happen to him, it's okay because we know he can be a real shitty person.
So it's okay if he suffers. So it's like, well, Donald, you're being an asshole, so you kind of deserve it. But yeah, the poacher ends up threatening him, so they just get really scared of him. I think they see him outside of the cottage too, because he knows where they live.
Yeah, he says, I've been watching you. And they're like, oh, he's coming for us. So Withnail starts carrying around the gun, and which is terrifying. Terrifying when the friend you don't trust won't put down a gun. That's really terrifying. Please. No, we have to sleep together. We have to sleep in the same bed. Well, yeah, but without the gun. No, I have to keep the gun.
Luckily, they hear someone break inside their room, sharpening a knife. Apparently, luckily though, it is not Jake. It is not Jake the poacher. It is the Uncle Monty.
Yay!
He brought him food. Of course, Monty's motives aren't pure at all.
No, his nephew has promised him that Marwood is open for business. And oh no, that's going to get uncomfortable. And Marwood can't stop smiling because that's when you panic.
I do like that they're finally kind of able to get to the city, and like they get money to go buy boots, and of course, like I said before, they just immediately go to the pub.
Oh, the one that they kind of take hostage.
Yeah. Yeah, they go into a cafe to like just go eat some cakes, and just they're just immediately once again they just immediately piss off everybody, and like the manager wants them out, and they won't leave.
And that scene really does remind me of a lot of stories you hear from friends who get obnoxiously drunk, and you start, while you're listening to their story, you start wondering, why are we friends?
Yeah.
You sound terrible. Uh, but somebody on Letterbox said that that's their favorite scene, is when they demand from the poor Penrith tea room lady that we want the finest wines available to humanity, and we want them here, and we want them now.
I do like too, as like the movie progresses, like obviously like Withnail is like, worried about Uncle Monty wanting to service him. But did I say Withnail? I meant Morwood.
Right, it's Marwood, right.
Yeah.
Who's scared.
Yeah, but he gets progressively less neurotic as the movie goes on. Because like the first part of the movie, he's just narrating to himself about like all the horrible things that could possibly happen to him, to the point to where he's afraid while he's literally locked in a bathroom by himself. But as the movie progresses, he does kind of like, I don't know if confidence is the right thing, but he kind of like stands up to himself. Maybe just Withnail gives him the power, or he just finds Withnail so pathetic that it's like, I have to act like I'm better than this guy at least.
Right. Well, and he does have a job coming. He's going to go off to repertory theater, and that getting just a job offer can change everything about your confidence, and it really is huge. And so that's where the movie is heading, is that you've got one guy, the guy whose memoirs this is based on, who got lucky, and then the friend he left behind. And that's where we're headed for this. And I think that's why it ends with a lot of us feeling kind of depressed.
I'll kind of speed through the plot a little bit, because I really want to talk about like the last like 15 minutes or so of the movie, because that's like I think that really like makes the difference of this movie from being just this is like a pretty funny morwood, to like, oh my god, this is like actually like really speaks to me. But it finally comes to a head with Morwood and Uncle Monty. Luckily, Morwood has the bright idea of just being like, actually, Withnail's gay too, and we're kind of a couple. And apparently, Monty goes from wanting to essentially rape Morwood to just being like, well, I don't want to get in the way of this loving relationship, so I'm sorry, man.
Yeah. That's what Marwood has to finally, that's his way out, is to stop denying that he's gay and just say, oh, I'm gay with your nephew, and you'd break his heart. You can't do that to him. And so the uncle's like, well, you're right. And then, of course, as soon as he's alone with Withnail, he's like, how dare you put me in this situation?
So I do wonder, do you think that Withnail and Morwood are gay, or is it kind of just like a funny circumstance? Like, obviously they're not lovers or anything, right? But do you think they're closeted?
Right. I think it's what we're witnessing is a bit of a toxic bromance, in that I think as human beings, I think sexuality has kind of a bit of a sliding scale as to hetero and homosexuality, I've always figured. And so it's kind of like they aren't, I don't think either of them are interested, but because they're kind of thrown in together, because they're friends, kind of the kind of stuff of life, and they're also in an industry where there's a lot of homosexuality, and they're that's why they're kind of classing themselves as outsiders or as counterculture. But I don't think they are. But I know a lot of Letterboxd reviews do not accept that. But
I mean, like the beginning of the movie, a lot of it is Withnail wearing an overcoat and just underwear, and that's it.
right.
So they're comfortable with each other, clearly.
Because yes, as someone who, when I was a teenager, I worked a summer at it wasn't repertory theater, but it was a summer stock, and I did work a summer there. And there was that moment when I realized I was the only straight man in the building, and I think that might be why I identify with this movie quite a bit, is that you have that double reaction of, wait a minute, most of the guys here are interested in me. And then the other thing is most of the women here are straight and they might be interested in me. Like, oh boy, why would I ever want to leave this? And we've heard from so many straight actors in Hollywood saying like, well, this is why I got into theater. So I realized I just improved my chances quite a bit.
Is that the difference between a writer and actor? All actors are gay drug addicts, and then all writers are straight alcoholics.
Right. Yeah, there you go.
Not to say that there's not gay writers or drug addict alcoholics.
Exactly.
But yeah, they're finally able to escape their holiday that they went on, but that I know it's not true, but like the line is funny. The holiday that they went on by accident.
What happens to Withnail after the drive home? Because the drive home is eventful.
Yeah, which Withnail drives, and of course he's drunk. So
and doesn't have a license.
Yeah. He gets pulled over, and you're like, oh my god, here he is. He's gonna get out of this because he has the child's pee. And he just like almost immediately gets caught. A shot of them. He's like behind like one of those like trifold curtains. He's not even in the bathroom. He's like literally like in front of the police, and they pull like the little curtain and they pull it, and it just shows the tube just shooting the pee out. Well, no one says anything. It was my favorite. Like comedy wise, it was the funniest part of the movie for me.
Right, and it was just that one shot because it starts on the far side of the room, and the cop is like looking where we can't see, but he's looking at Withnail behind the little divider, and then he just walks past everybody else in the room and pulls the divider aside. It's like, I don't think he's really urinating into the cup or the jar. Something else is going on.
Which we don't even know what comes of that, because the next scene they're just back at the apartment.
Yeah. What happened? How did he get out of that? And this was after he's been driving on the highway, just weaving all over the place. And our protagonist wakes up in the back seat where he's passed out from exhaustion driving in the middle of the night, and then just slowly dawns to realization that his drunk asshole friend is at the wheel. What are you doing? I'm making time. I'm making good time.
Yeah, they finally arrive back at their apartment, only to find that chocolate mousse from Top Secret is in their bathtub. And Danny's just been squatting here. And this is where I don't even know how to explain it, but oh, now I know how to do it. Withnail runs in, Marwood runs into the room to talk to Danny, and he's just like, what is this racial slur that is similar to a suit, a card suit, or a shovel.
Right.
And it was that was like real. I'm sure like in the 60s, maybe that was the movie takes place in 1969.
Right.
But that like took me off guard because Morwood always seemed like the decent guy, and it's just like whoa.
Yeah. And of course it just keeps getting worse because the druggy guy is just talking about how, well, yeah, you guys left, so we just moved in, obviously, and then all these legal papers have shown up that says you guys are losing the place. And he's just all doing it he waits until they get super high on this obnoxiously large whatever joint he's rolled. He waits until they're all high, and then he starts unleashing everything that will like trigger all sorts of paranoia, or in Withnail's case, just unstoppable laughter.
I think it was just marijuana, right? It was probably marijuana laced with something, but like, yeah, Withnail very much takes like the very happy high, while Marwood, it just drives him back into like paranoia.
Right. I'm so high. Exactly. That's what we were trying to do. then he just dumps his bag out. Here's your legal papers.
Which was Danny just gonna take their checks and try to cash them?
Oh, sure. I was gonna cash those for you. Yeah, this is a completely untrustworthy individual. Somebody you do not want to know.
Yeah, but at this part too, Marwood learns that he not only did he get the part, but he got the lead in the play.
Yeah.
And so he's gonna have to move all the way to Manchester for it. So this is kind of where the movie turns. Basically, Marwood, you see him at the end too. He's all cleaned up too, ready to go like be the lead of this play. Well,
right.
Withnail is essentially losing his friend. He's gonna lose his house or his apartment. He's gonna lose his apartment. He probably is nowhere else in his career. He's probably not gonna get anywhere in his career. And the movie like kind of just becomes this very like kind of sweet, seems like an unoptimal word for this, but honestly it's kind of just nice to see them like be somewhat normal again.
Yeah.
As Morwood like walks as I keep getting the names wrong, jeez. As Withnail walks Morwood to the station, Morwood even turns down like a drink. It's like the first time in the movie he turns down like any like type of drug.
Right. He's cleaned up. He's gonna go off and have his big career. And yet when they were all paranoid and frustrated out in the country, there's that one shot in the middle of the movie where, Withnail's been intimidated by, I think, Jake the poacher, and so there's that really wide shot of the countryside, and they're walking back to their cottage, and he screams out, "You bastards! I'll show you all. I'm going to be a star." And then now we're at the end of the movie, and Withnail is saying goodbye to the guy who might go off to be a star, and that's what he's trying to do. And so he has to say, goodbye to him. And of course, both Marwood feels guilty, but what else can he do? He's got to shoot his shot. And so then that brings us to the very end, which the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then, but when I watched it the other night, I wept. I wept when Richard E. Grant does a soliloquy from Hamlet, because since I had written down that speech earlier that Uncle Monty gives, that once you realize you're never going to get to play Hamlet, your ambition ceases, and there he is quoting Hamlet. That's very much on his mind, his drive, and the particular soliloquy he picks from Hamlet is very important. It's basically Hamlet talking about, how we're special as human beings. He says, and he does it to, I guess there's a kind of a zoo next to this park, and it's a bunch of wolves apparently. And so he's standing in the rain with his umbrella, and he's quoting Shakespeare to this pack of wolves, which is a nice touch in regards to your audience. I have of light, but wherefore I know not, lost all my mirth, foregone all custom of exercise, and indeed it goes so heavily with my disposition that this goodly frame the earth seems to me a sterile promontory. This most excellent canopy the air, look you, this brave overhanging firmament, this majestical roof, fretted with golden fire, why it appeareth no other thing to me than a foul and pestilent congregation of vapors. What a piece of work is man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculty, in form and moving, how express and admirable, in action how like an angel, in apprehension how like a god. The beauty of the world, the paragon of animals, and yet to me what is this quintessence of dust? Man delights not me, no, nor woman neither. And that's how it ends. So it even kind of gets at what we were talking about earlier, because Hamlet then, where he cuts off, Hamlet chastises his friends Rosencrantz and Guildenstern for kind of smirking when he says, "Man delights not me." That they're saying, "Oh, so you're saying you're not gay." But then he says, "No, nor woman neither," and that's how he ends it. So he's kind of in this moment, kind of asexual, where he's like, "Look, my thoughts aren't sexual right now. I'm kind of morose." Because he's Hamlet. Yeah. He's lost all his mirth. He's like, what am I supposed to do? And it's just a lovely way to end the movie and have Withnail walking off into the rain. So how did it affect you?
It's really kind of weird because like this whole movie, like you see like this like self-destructive relationship between these two, and like Withnail is like a prick throughout like this whole movie, but just like at the end, like seeing him kind of like lose like essentially everything, and he has like all this ambition, and he believes that he could be so great, and just the fact that at the end he just, I'm actually starting to tear up now. Just the fact that he left his friend that he lost his friend that he clearly cares about, and he just comes to the realization that he has nothing in his life, and it just makes me sad because like I always have that fear myself of like, because I've lost friends, I've had friendships, and I've had bouts of my life where I'm just like, wow, I can't ever do the thing that I wanted to do with my life. Is it too late? So just kind of seeing this personified with this, albeit pretty shitty person, but he's still like a person.
Right.
So kind of seeing that like even he isn't like someone that's so cold-hearted that he couldn't be affected by just losing everything. So even though I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm similar to Withnail, I really felt his sadness.
Right. And that's kind of what it forces you to do, is kind of identify and identify with him. It's fascinating.
And then there's no like funny last line from him. There's no non sequitur. You're just stuck in that moment with him, and you just watch him like just walk in the rain with an umbrella in one hand and a bottle of wine in the other, and you're just like, damn.
Yeah, you're wondering what happens to him. And of course, you're also wondering what's going to happen to Marwood. And being that it was based on Bruce Campbell's...
Bruce Robinson.
Sorry, not Bruce Campbell. It was on Bruce Robinson's experiences, is that you've got... that he's going to go off and be in this big production, and he may be having to fight off someone similar to Uncle Monty, who this time might be the director.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like there
Yeah.
could be
So
an
that,
implication that maybe
yeah,
it's just what happens to Monty is what's going to happen in his career from then
right.
on, and he's
But,
not going to
and then,
find someone as romantic as Monty is.
right, right. And of course, one thing to consider is you could do a gender flopped version of this, because this is the sort of thing that actresses have to put up with, or had to, an awful lot, these unwanted sexual advances during rehearsals and things like that, and making movies or plays. And so it's yeah, it's interesting because it kind of has that bleak touch of sadness, but at the same time, he's got to do it. This is what he
Yeah,
wanted, and
not too late for him, like it is with Withnail.
right, right. Well, we'll see what
Yeah,
happens with now. The movie A Merry War, I like to think that that one with a where he's a writer and he's got a chance to he's got a choice of like, does he give his whole life to writing, or is he going to be a family man? And that's and of course I watch that periodically and always cry, going, "You could do both. You could do both, Gordon Comstock. You don't have to just." But he's an all or nothing kind of guy, which I think is the kind of part that Richard E. Grant ends up getting.
yeah,
Is kind
like
of
in
the
Hudson Hawk.
dedicated, yeah, the dedicated maniac who has to be all or nothing, who's going to create an evil Wolverine and be the guy, the version of Loki who wears the classic comic accurate costume.
Right, Rise of Skywalker is the worst Star Wars movie. I don't have anything for that. I think it's funny about him being right in Rise of Skywalker because it's like, oh, they gave up on Hux, so they just made another character.
Right.
Let's stop talking about this nerd shit. Get back to the movie. So, what do you think? What do you think was the major thing that changed with you between your first time watching this, your second time watching this, that like made you cry? The ending made you cry this time.
Well, it was because I think it was because I noticed that line from Uncle Monty early on, that if you uh, when you realize you're never going to play Hamlet, then what's the point in being an
Yeah,
actor? And then and the fact that Withnail immediately responded, "Oh, I'm going to play him," and then here at the very end, as he's kind of watching his star falling after he's shouted to the heavens, "I'm going to be a star," in the middle of the movie, then at the end he's quoting Hamlet, going, "What am I to do now?" And uh, and so it's and he does it very well. He's a damn good Hamlet, but he's just not going to get his chance.
yeah,
And that's kind of where most of us fall. And so it's interesting, and I found it very touching in the fact that it was raining and he was performing it over a fence to a group of wolves. It was just very touching, and he was really good. And you're sad, and it's quite funny because most movies would have followed Marwood. The movie should have ended in the if it was a Hollywood movie, is that we would have left Withnail in the park, and we would have continued and watched Marwood get on his train and go, and that's how it would have ended.
yeah. It's kind
Hopefully.
of like I saw someone compare this to Midnight Cowboy.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it would be like if in Midnight Cowboy, if when Rizzo dies, it's just the spoilers for Midnight Cowboy. When Rizzo dies, if the movie just ended there,
Yeah.
but the movie, because Joe Buck is the protagonist, it of course follows him when he gets to Florida.
Right.
Sorry, let me. It kind of waits for Joe Buck to respond to it.
Right.
Where this movie, it's very much we don't see Morwood after he says goodbye.
Right. Yeah, we stay with Withnail, or actually we really kind of stay in the park. We're the wolves that are in the park, and
Yeah,
we see the two friends part, but we're watching Withnail, and that's that's interesting. That makes it more touching.
Yeah, if you look at it from like a meta thing, like what you're saying, he's basically showing us the audience that he could have been Hamlet.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was very touched by the ending, because this just seems like one of just those like 80s, like, I don't know if gross out would be the right thing, but just like one of those comedies about like deplorable people that you just kind of like laugh at. So the fact that like the ending was like very touching really surprised me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was Withnail and I. I have to say that I was. Well, I mean, I just literally just said it, but this movie definitely surprised me, because it's very funny. It has like a lot of really good dialogue. These two characters are great. They definitely could have gotten a '90s sitcom, where they just get into adventures. But yeah, I think there's this big theme of both bettering yourself, and then if you can't better yourself, you're just essentially if you don't try to better yourself, you're gonna end up losing everything.
Right.
And I didn't expect that from that movie, so I was very surprised.
Did you ever see The Young Ones, the TV show?
No, I have. That's the Rick Malik show, right?
Yeah, Mayall. Yeah, he. There's a lot that reminds me of it. The fact that it's the kind of the '80s, and you've got these young men living in a really gross, dirty apartment, and
yeah. I also saw someone compare this to Bottom, which was like basically the other show of that, but it was with two of them.
Right. Yeah, they have a lot of similarities.
Yeah. Although the clips I've seen from Bottom, it's just them beating the shit out of each other the whole episode. This one you can tell Withnail and Morwood are actually friends that care about each other, even though Withnail is completely okay with sicking his gay uncle to Morwood just to get a fucking cabin for a weekend.
Right. Oh, and then there's that scene where Withnail leaves the gate open so the bull follows them in the country, and he completely he hands the bag of food to his buddy and then jumps the fence so that he has to
we didn't talk about the Randy bull.
And then he yells at him. He's like, "Come on, man up! Yell at the bull, charge the bull."
Yeah, we forgot to mention that the reason why the farmer lost his leg is because he has a Randy bull.
Oh, right. And we know we're going to meet the bull.
Which, have you ever seen Buffy? Are you a Buffy fan at all?
I watched a bit of Buffy. I'm aware of it. So what did it remind you of from Buffy?
There's an episode where like they all where all the main cast lose their memory.
Oh, right.
And they're all trying to piece together who they are, and so like they all have their IDs, and so Anthony Stewart Head's character Giles, of course, he's British, so they assume that Spike, the vampire character, who's also British, is Giles' son. And so he knows so Spike assumes his last name is Giles, and then he looks at the pocket of the suit that he stole, and it says Randy. And he's like, "Randy Giles? You called me Randy Giles? Why didn't you call me Horny Giles or Desperate for a Shag Giles?" Whenever I hear like Randy used as like, a term for being horny, that's generally what my mind goes to. But yeah, great movie. Any final thoughts on your end?
No, I'm sure someday I'll watch it again and I'll probably love it even more.
Yeah. I want to watch it again too. This was an enjoyable movie for me, even though, like I said, the ending made me really sad. All right, that was our discussion of Withnail and I. Highly recommend it. Might not like it, might not resonate with you as much as it did with us, but I definitely say give it a watch. There are some funny lines regardless. Now, Todd, where can we find you on the internet? Not in real life.
Oh, well, I'm on Letterboxd and as Bizarro Ziggy, and still playing City of Heroes Homecoming. I'm still writing for Dangerous ASMR, and still cranking out History Channel TV shows. So lots of fun stuff.
Everyone go watch Ancient Aliens for Todd.
Woo!
Thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tell us what your favorite Richard E. Grant movie is. Because me and Todd, we apparently just both want to do a bunch of Richard E. Grant movies, so Todd's going to be the Richard E. Grant guy, I guess.
that works. I like that.
It's like review another thing and people are like, whoa, Richard E. Grant isn't in this movie. What are you guys doing? You guys got to review How to Get Ahead in Advertising.
Oh, yeah. We can do that one.
But thank you guys. And remember, don't give up on your dreams. Unless your dream is unattainable. Yeah, because then you'll be wasting your life with it. Okay, bye, everybody.